Hi, this is Vicky from the Spellbound Bead Company, and in this video I'm going to show you how to make the Aster Flower motif. To make the Aster Flower, you're going to need a 4mm bead for the centre of the flower. I'm using a white pearl, and some size 10 seed beads for the petals. You can use a variety of colours if you want to, or you can use just a single colour like I'm doing here. I've also got 80cm of thread. I'm using 9 D with a keeper bead tied about 10cm from the end of the thread and a size 10 beading needle. So let's get started. We're going to pick up one of the 4mm beads for the flower centre, and then we're going to pick up 5 size 10s, and then we're going to come back through that 4mm bead in the same direction as before to make a little strap to sit around the side of the 4mm bead. And then we're going to pick up another 5 size 10s and do the same to make a strap on the second side of the flower. And then we're going to come through those first 5D beads we put on, those first 5 size 10 beads we put on. Five there. Then we're going to pick up a bead to fill the gap, and we'll come through this second strap of 5 beads there. Pick up another one, and we're going to go through. I'm going to go through 2 beads this time there. And so we've got a ring of 12 size 10 seed beads sitting around the outside of the pearl. So we're going to pick up 2 beads, and we're going to square stitch these to the 2 beads on the ring. So to do that, we're going to go, this is the bead we're coming out of here. So we're going to go through that one. We're going to go through the one before it and that one in the same direction as before, so that the 2 new beads sit directly on top of the beads that we've just put, directly on top of the beads on the ring. And we're going to come through the new beads a second time. And we're going to pick up 2 more, and we're going to go through it again. There we go. There, and to make the flower tip, we're just going to add a single bead on the end. So go through the 2 beads previously added, and through the and there. Now, to reinforce this and reposition the needle, we're going to come back through the single bead of the tip, and we're going to work our way back down through the pairs of beads so that we're coming out at the base. Work our way back down there. So we're going to go through the 2 beads of the ring, and we're going to go through the next 2 beads around, and we're going to repeat the same procedure to make another petal. So square stitch 2, just be mindful of your thread getting caught, and we're going to go through another 2, and then we'll add a single bead for the tip. So you can obviously make these flower petals longer by just adding more pairs of beads before you get started. You could make fewer, wider petals by adding 3 beads at the start and doing it that way if you wanted to. back through the 2 beads, next 2 beads on the ring. As you can see, these are a really quick little motif to make. And just be careful when you buy the keeper bead, just to be sure you don't catch the thread and split the thread there, because it will make the keeper bead harder to remove, and it will also affect the tension slightly on your flower. You could do this with a brown bead in the middle and yellow petals, make yourself a sunflower. A yellow bead in the middle and white petals to make yourself a daisy. So there are lots of different ways you can use these flowers as well. You can stitch them directly onto, if you've got a prepared band, so something like a right angle weave or a peyote stitch band, you can stitch the centre of through the centre pearl on the flower and stitch it directly to a band that way. You could stitch it down by the tips of the petals if you prefer to do it that way. You could join the petals together tip to tip to make a string of beads for the centre of a necklace or a bracelet. You can join them so that they sit side by side, so you'd have another one connected to this side here. There are lots of different ways you can use these. Don't forget to show us if you make anything with these flowers, or anything else of ours that you've made. If you want to put it onto social media, if you use the hashtag #MadeItWithSpellbound, then we'll find it and have a look and see what you're doing. If you have any questions or anything that you need explaining, then just get in touch with us and we can do that as well. Oops. These, if you use, make sure you use beads that aren't dyed. These make a really pretty embellishment on a scarf or a top as well. You could a bit of wire to make a stem, make a little bouquet. Okay, so there we go. So that's our 6 petals, and we're back on the ring. Now, what I would do here is I'd actually leave these thread ends, both these thread ends, until I knew what I was going to use the flower for. So leave yourself a nice long tail, so if you're attaching it to something else that you can do that. But just to show you so that you can know how to finish off the thread ends, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through those 2 beads on the ring again, and then I'm going to take my needle under the thread that's between the next 2 beads, and I'm going to come through the loop. I'm going to tie a knot, so pull that down there so that's nice and secure. Go through another couple of beads, and we'll do that again. Now, don't tie any knots or anything in your work until you know you're definitely not going to have to go through the beads again, because when you start tying knots you're going to start blocking bead holes, and that can make it a bit tricky if you then decide that you want to go through these beads a second time. Okay, so we'll come through there. I've gone through one more bead after I've tied the knot, because you don't want to cut your thread ends off right next to a knot. So there we go. And there is the pretty Aster flower motif.